So I wanted to talk about trying to make your side hustle a full-time job, because it's a lot harder than a lot of these gurus on the internet are making that out. Oh, just create your ad, get a click funnel, create content, do this, do that, and then all of a sudden you're making 100 grand a month, six-figure business, and all that crap they all talk. And yes, it can happen and can work for some people, but for a lot of industries, that's just a load of nonsense. And it's much tougher and much harder. And I want to talk about the realities and how life can obviously get in the way, and a couple of things that I think you need to have in place in order to make a success of it, like I'm starting to do now. I am 2 years in to my business journey. I run a video production company, photography, mostly do weddings, but I do a little bit of corporate stuff as well. And I just want to tell you what the last 2 years have really been like, and how more recently it started to drastically improve because of some changes I made. So the first thing would be to explain my day, and a lot of your days might look exactly the same. So a lot of my days start at 5 a.m. when I get up in the morning. I then go out and I do my day job. Then most days of the week I'm out driving. I'm on the road for 10 to 11 hours a day. I leave the house at 5 a.m. I get back home about 5:30 p.m. So I'm out the house for over 12 hours. I then get back, I have my tea, do a little bit of exercise. And then from about 7 p.m. I'm doing one of two things. I'm either back out the door and shooting again, or just leaving straight from work to go to shoots, or I'm editing till midnight. And I've been doing that pretty much consistently for the last probably 12 months, seriously. Previous to that, I was just doing it here, there, and wherever I could. But the difference this year is obviously I've got a lot more work, so therefore I'm having to do it every night of the week. So it's bloody hard because there's no sitting down and watching Netflix. I don't get to watch as much of the football as I would like. I don't get to socialise and do stuff that I want to do at the weekends because I'm usually out working, filming a wedding or something like that. So time is the biggest commodity that I find the most difficult to work out. So first things first, you need a partner and a family that are really committed to this journey with you, because my God, you are going to have to sacrifice a lot of time if you want to make your side hustle a full-time job. For me as well, when I first started the business, I didn't have that much experience, so I had to do a lot of work on the cheap or for free, and I still occasionally do the odd free project as well if it's in an area that I haven't worked before. And what I'll do then is obviously use that as an advert to go out and get future business. The other thing when you're first starting out as well, depending on the industry that you're in, you've got to go out and buy a lot of gear. This year, because last year I managed to make a little bit of money, I've used that money to reinvest and go out and buy myself some real top quality equipment, which has really driven me even more now because I've got to make it work. So I spent a lot of money on all this equipment. In my first year, I probably made about 15 grand revenue. Now, obviously, a lot of that is not profit because I spent a lot of money on ads, equipment, paying other people because I occasionally needed contractors to help me on jobs. So didn't really make all that much money, but I made enough money that I could put some aside to buy my new cameras, my new gear, my new lights, new microphones, all the kind of stuff that I would need going forward. The second year, I've done 55k revenue. Again, not much in the way of profit yet, although the profits are starting to get more towards what my basic salary would be for my driving work. So I am almost on par now with my full-time job, with my side hustle job. So I'm getting there, getting real close. But the problem is the inconsistency of the work. You get peaks and troughs. When you're the boss, the main person doing all the filming or doing all the work, whatever industry you're in, and you're the one doing all the sales and driving sales, it's very difficult to maintain a steady flow of work. So what I find is now is using paid advertising properly was probably the best investment that I've made. So all these gurus that keep coming out and telling you, just make content, loads and loads of content, organic content, try this hack, try that hack. Every major business in the world that does any good uses paid advertising. So whilst I do still make content, I'm making content right now, I also go out and do the paid ads in addition to that. I think a lot of people get into this and think that just making the content and making the content alone is going to be enough. And then what happens is after 3 to 6 months, when they just haven't brought anywhere near enough customers in, all of a sudden they lose all that motivation and it gets a little bit depressing and then they give up. Luckily, I've worked in roles in the past where I know that paid advertising works and I've used that to my advantage. And now I'm in a position where the bookings are really starting to stack up now, which is really good, which leads me to a new problem of having to find people to help me on jobs because I am now swamped in work, but not enough work to quit my full-time job, but too much work to get it all done in the evenings and weekends. So I'm in a real tricky position at the moment where I don't know where my next move is. So I've got to be really smart over the next 12 months to see where I can make my moves and eventually make the jump to doing this thing full time and maybe even scaling it and growing it. So what I'm doing at the minute is I'm actually finding other people in similar positions to me, or maybe a bit below where I am right now. Maybe they're just starting out, and I'm hiring them to do jobs. They're doing stuff for me at a reasonable price. And then as a result, I can still afford to make money from the job. They're making money, gaining experience as well, like I did when I first started. And in a weird way, it's great because I feel like I'm giving back a little bit as well, which is really cool. Taking people on and giving other people work and paying other people, it's really quite a satisfying feeling, but it's also becomes quite high pressured when they start relying on that money, so you've got to make sure the work is consistent. So yeah, anyway, guru that I follow, if you want to call him that, is a guy called James Smith. For those that don't know, he was a PT, started off as a PT, built a massive online PT business. And rather than some coaches who have only ever made their money from selling people courses on building businesses, even though they themselves have never built one, which still baffles me to this day. And I've been caught out by that, by paying for some of these people in the past. And they actually don't know fuck all. It's really bad. They just basically copy the same bullshit that someone else has said, or they've been and watched one Tony Robbins video and they're just copying all the blurb from that word for word. But James Smith actually puts out a lot of free content that is extremely practical and extremely useful. And he talks about using paid ads, and he talks about doing content in tandem a lot, and I think his work ethic and the way he goes about doing it has definitely helped me. So go and check James out. I'll put a link in the description below, because even though I've never paid for any of his courses, I still feel like I've got a lot out of it, and I've changed the way I run my socials. I've changed how active I've become on them more recently. And in conjunction with using the paid ads, it's completely transformed everything for me. If you'd like to know specifics about what I've done, hit me up in the comment section. I'm not selling a course or anything like that. Happy to just pass on what I've learned, because I'm definitely not an expert in this field. But if you want to know what I've learned, I'll happily share it with you. Maybe I'll make another video, or I'll just converse with you via the comment section. Anyway, just wanted to talk about it because I've watched so many of these videos in the last couple of months, because I do like to keep tabs on what other people are doing, and it just pisses me off the number of 20-year-olds that are jumping in front of a YouTube camera going, I built a 6-figure business. This guy's did 144k in his first month. It's just bullshit. You can tell when they're all looking up, they all use the same tell. I just don't believe a lot of them. And the only way they're making money is by conning people out of the money to sell them a course on something they've never done. They're not even old enough, some of them, to have done it. So yeah, that's it. That's my rant, basically. Apologies. but hopefully you find this useful, and I'll do more of this soon. If you found this relatable in any way, shape or form, let me know in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I've got loads of video tutorials, lot packs, loads of stuff like that, and I'm just giving it all away. I'm not bothered about making any money from this. I've got too much going on with trying to build the business side of things, so, and I don't want to start scamming people, so just subscribe to the channel. That's enough. That's all I ask. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.